Good evening, good evening. Welcome to the call, All Millionaires. My name is Alma Nancy, and it is such a pleasure hosting these calls for you guys each and every week. So I'd like to welcome all of you to this self-esteem development training call, Obsessed with Success. We do have these calls each and every Wednesday, and they are always filled with strategies and tips on self-esteem development, entrepreneurship, as well as secrets of the super wealthy. Trust me, millionaires, you guys never, ever want to miss one of these calls because they can totally change your life the way they have mine. And it's not just me. These calls have helped thousands of people throughout the United States of America. So it is with special excitement that I am so pleased to introduce to the line Mr. Haziq Ali. He is the most selfless person that you would ever meet. He devotes all of his time providing service and fights the war on poverty just so we all can win. It's because of this we affectionately call him the General. Mr. Ali is an author, a self-esteem development expert, my personal mentor and coach. Now let me step out of the way and introduce to the line Mr. Haziq Ali. Are you there, sir?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Please take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Nancy, for everything that you do in front of and behind the scenes. I want to welcome all of you to another episode of Obsessed with Success. This is episode number 128, and we're doing a part 2 of the 21 Habits of Self-Made Millionaires. We talk about it all the time, that discipline is an illusion. It's all about your habits and your why. We understand that you only need enough discipline to make it a habit. And last week we went over the first 12. Just to recap really quick, we talked about dreaming really big. We talked about developing a direction, right? We talked about dreaming really big, and then we talked about developing direction. We talked about how you have to have a self-made self-image. You got to realize that you're 100% responsible for your life. You got to focus on doing what you love. You want to commit to excellence. You want to have a workaholic mentality. You want to realize that, at the end of the day, they talk about, I'm going to work smart, not hard. You got to do both. 1, you have to commit yourself to lifelong learning. That was number 7. Number 8 was pay yourself first. You'll never be wealthy unless you do. Number 9 was learn every single detail of what it is you're saying you want to do. You got to be a master. Number 10, dedicate yourself to service. Number 11, be impeccably honest. Number 12 was match priorities with your goals. And so here we are taking it from there. I hope you guys are ready. I hope you got your pens kind of like by your side. I feel like this is going to be one of the most powerful sort of commitments you can make to yourself. If you'll write these down, if you'll kind of like put them somewhere where you can see them, if you'll kind of work on one after the other, kind of ask yourself, which ones am I the weakest on? And I'm going to give you other things to ask yourself, but I think that's a really strong one. Since we kind of like left off last time on number 11, I want to start off with number 12 because I feel like this will set the tone for the rest of the call, honestly. And in this world where we're so easily distracted, I think this is one of the hardest ones that we've discussed so far. And that is number 12, which is set priorities so that they match your goals. I'm going to say that again. Habit number 12 is that you have to set the priorities so that your activities match your goals. This is sort of a key formula for people that want high levels of productivity, because at the end of the day, you're looking to be a laser, not a chandelier. With this formula, you're setting priorities and concentrating. It makes it so that you're leveling the playing field between you and anybody else that would seek to be in your lane. This makes it so even if they have more education, even if they have more resources, you guys are equal. Because even with all of that, if they don't have the focus that you have, they're going to lose. You can accomplish almost anything you want if you use this simple strategy of matching up what you do with where you say you want to be. Now, I understand that that's easier said than done, So here's a quick formula for you to write down. First, make a list of everything you have to do before you begin. Second, set the priorities on that list by asking yourself these 4 questions I'm about to give you, and you're going to do it more than once. You may find yourself wanting to ask yourself one. It's so funny. Preparing for this call made me kind of reassess some things that I'm doing. I don't know about you and what you have going on in your life, but it is so easy to be distracted. We'll get to that in a minute. But listen, here's question number 1. What are my highest value activities? So that's like, what do you do that's more valuable than anything else to your work in your business? What's the most valuable thing you do? Number 2, why do I get paid? You know, if you have a job, it's why am I on a payroll? If you're an entrepreneur, it's like, where do I actually make my money? What exactly have you been hired to accomplish? What exactly are people looking to you to do for them? Focus on results, not activity. Now, a lot of times you've heard us talk about how the champions focus on activity, not results. But see, this is a different level of it, because right now you're holding yourself to the point where you're matching up your priorities with your goals. So you got to ask yourself, what are the results? Why am I here for others? With yourself, you focus on activity, but when you're serving somebody else, you have to focus on the results. Your intentions don't matter. It's what are your results? This is one of the quandaries of leadership. Number 3, what can I and only I do that if I do it well, it makes the real difference? There's something only you can do. If you don't do it, it won't get done. But if you do it and you do it well, it'll make a significant difference in your business or your personal life. What is it for you? What is it? And here's question number 4. What's the most valuable use of my time right now? Right now. What's the most valuable use of my time? There's only one answer to this question at any given moment. And it's going to be your ability to figure out the answer to this, the most valuable use of your time, and then start in on that. That's going to be the key to your high productivity. That's going to be the key to your financial success. If you can commit yourself finally to work single-mindedly on one task, the most important task, and stay with it until it's complete, if you can persevere without diversion or distraction, push yourself to stay at it until it's done, your life is going to pretty much rise on an arc. You can't even stop it from happening. This one habit alone can make you the most successful person in your whole family tree. Number 13, we got a lot to cover. Develop a reputation for speed and dependability. Listen, time is the number 1 currency of this world we're living in right now. Everybody's rushing. Who do you know that just has hella free time? Customers who didn't even know they wanted something yesterday are paying through the nose for it this week. People are less and less patient, and so that creates more and more opportunity for the one who gets a reputation for doing it quicker than they imagined that they would get it. Instant gratification ain't even fast enough no more. So your whole job is to develop a reputation for speed, develop a sense of urgency, develop a bias for action, is what Elon Musk calls it. You got to move fast on opportunities because they might not be there tomorrow. This is called a window. You got to move fast when people want or need something. Move quickly when you see something that needs to be done. When your customer or your boss asks you to do something, drop everything else and do it so fast they're amazed. You heard it said, if you want something done, give it to a busy man or give it to a busy woman. Well, listen, people who have a reputation for moving quickly attract more and more because they get things done. When you can combine your ability to determine what your highest priority task is with the commitment to getting it done, you're going to find yourself moving to the front. More doors are going to open than you can even imagine right now while you're listening to this training. Number 14, and this is a doozy. I promise you, I'm going through it right now. I'm watching other people go through it right now. I want you to know something. Number 14 is be prepared to climb from peak to peak. This is your life. This is your career. You're a mountain climber. But look over at that next peak. What's separating you? The valley. Your life and your career is going to see some valleys. All of business is just like nature. It's cycles, it's trends, there's ups, there's downs. Sometimes there's going to be trends that lead to complete change. Look at what Redbox did to Blockbuster. Look at what Netflix is going to do to Redbox. We talked about it this morning on the affirmation call about how one thing can change everything. Well, look at it. What is your long-term perspective? Are you planning 2 or 3 weeks, or are you planning 2 or 3 years? Now, 4 and 5 years might be kind of hard for certain things because you don't even know what the world is going to look like. But remind yourself that everything goes on in cycles. Be calm, be confident, be relaxed with your short-term fluctuations. It happens. But when you have clear goals and plans that you're working on every day, the general trend of your lifeline is going to be onward and upward. Here's number 15. Self-discipline is the key. It's probably the, no, I've said a bunch of things were the most important, but what do you want me to say? This might be the most important single quality for success in life. If you can discipline yourself to do what you should do, even when you don't feel like it, your success is guaranteed. The key is long-term perspective combined with gratification delay, pleasure delay. It's your ability to set that long-term goal and then discipline yourself every single day with every single expenditure to do only the things that will guarantee that you achieve this goal. Self-discipline is self-mastery, self-control, self-responsibility, self-direction. And it's just like what we talked about earlier with habit number 3, where you got to have a self-made self-image. Everybody's self-made, but only the successful admit it. Remember we said that? Well, the things that failures don't like to do are the same things that successful people don't like to do. But successful people do it anyway because they realize you got to pay the cost to be the boss. Successful people are more concerned with pleasing results. The failures are more concerned with pleasing methods. Successful people do things that are goal achieving. Unsuccessful people do things that are stress relieving. Successful people do the hard, necessary, important things. Unsuccessful people do the things that are fun and easy, comfort zone, enjoyment. Every act of self-discipline that you use will strengthen your other disciplines. Every time you practice self-discipline, your self-esteem goes up because you like yourself more. The more you practice discipline in small things, the more capable you become of the great. Do not despise small beginnings. Treat it like it's $1 million business now, and before you know it, you're going to have $1 million business. The whole test is, can you keep your mind on what you want and where you're going rather than thinking about all of this crap you don't want that keeps exploding in your life. When you pass that test, when you move on to the next grade, you're fit for leadership because now you know what to tell your bishop. Now you know what to tell your knight. Guess what? If you ain't been through it, you got nothing. Number 16. Realize you're God's highest form of creation. Realize that means you must move from the competitive mind to the creative mind. You are smarter than you ever imagined. You have more raw brain power and creative ability than you can even fathom. Your brain has 100 billion cells, each of which is connected to like 20,000 other cells. These are all worked together with this network of neurons and dendrites. What this means is that the possible combinations and permutations of your mind are absolutely infinite. It's what lets this one right here be a mathematical prodigy, and it's what lets this one over here swim faster than any other human on the planet. The more you focus your mind, the more you'll begin to realize your ability to develop ideas is absolutely unlimited. This means your ability to succeed is unlimited. Your creativity is stimulated by three things, and I'm simplifying it, but I'm just giving it to you. Intensely desired goals, pressing problems, and focused questions. That's what's going to give you your creativity. Intensely desired goals, you got to have it. Pressing problems, you got to fix it. Or focused questions, I got to know. The more you focus your mind on achieving or solving or answering, the smarter you become. The faster your mind works, the quicker you pull the future into the present. Your creativity is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets, the more resilient it becomes, the longer you can use it. You can increase your intelligence and your IQ by disciplining yourself to think creativity. Just think creativity. Don't drive the same way home. Don't always use the same hand to sign your name. Don't always answer the phone the same way. Don't have the same business card as everybody else. Every time you come up with an idea that improves some part of your work, every time you come up with something that helps you find newer, better, faster, cheaper, easier ways to accomplish a result, you're functioning at the highest level of creativity. Number 17, get around the right people. 85% of your success is going to be determined by the quality of the relationships that you cultivate. The 5 people you call for no reason at all are your future. If you show me those 5 people, I'll show you where you're headed. The more people you know and who know you in a positive way, the more successful you're going to be and the faster you're going to move ahead. At virtually every turning point in your life, somebody's standing there to help you or hinder you. But what successful people do is they make a habit of building and maintaining a network of these high-quality relationships. As a result, they accomplish vastly more than the average person who goes home and watches TV every night. They accomplish way more than a person who's focused on Future the rapper instead of Future the noun. Everything is relationships. And if your friends are focused on the wrong thing, you become focused on the wrong thing because they make it feel so good to do so bad. More than 90% of your success is your reference group. These are the people you habitually identify and associate with most of the time. You're like a chameleon. All you do is take on the attitudes, the behaviors, and the values of the people that you're rocking with. If you want to be a successful person, associate with positivity. Even in science, it's represented by the plus sign because that's who adds on to your life. If you associate with people who are optimistic and happy, you're going to naturally begin to become optimistic and happy about things that happen to you. You network continually when you're a self-made millionaire. You join your industry and trade associations. You attend every meeting. You attend every training. You attend every workshop. You get involved. Because after all, why do it if you don't intend on doing it to its fullest extent? And here's one of the best strategies of all. We ran through this a little while ago on a call, I think it was maybe number 125, about how to prospect. But whenever you meet somebody new, ask them to tell you about their business. Especially ask them to tell you what you need to know to send them a customer or send them a client. Listen, you just made them a best friend. Yes, relationships take time, but you know what the time machine is? Service. Secret number 18, health is wealth. Health is wealth. We're living at the most wonderful time in human history, according to almost any measure. Because I know somebody in their head said, not according to carbon gases. Don't be a smart aleck. Almost every category you can measure, we are doing better than anybody who's ever lived on the planet. Do you understand that? If you look at longevity and physical fitness, you can live longer and better today than has ever been possible before. Elon Musk and his partner Peter Diamante are dedicating a whole portion of their fortune to human longevity. Their whole goal is to make 100 years old the new 60. What is your goal? You can live longer and better than has ever been before. It's never been possible. In times of Mozart and Beethoven, people would die at 34 and 35. I'm saying on a regular. You might die from pneumonia. Your goal must be to live at least 80, 90, 100 years in excellent health, and you can do it if you decide to. Look at your current health habits. Ask yourself whether or not the way you're living today is going to get you to the age of 80 in great shape. There are 3 keys to living a long, happy, healthy life. The first is proper weight. So set it as a goal to get your weight under control and then remain lean and fit the rest of your life. They got a 5-word formula for it. I know it sounds simple, but eat less and exercise more. It's not to get all deep. Pretty simple. Second, proper diet. Key to proper diet is to eat better foods and fewer of them. Eat more what they call lean source proteins. Eat more fruits and vegetables. Right? Eliminate desserts, soft drinks, candy. You know how I started eliminating soft drinks? I had a buddy who was selling for Coca-Cola. She was helping to do the fountain drink distribution for Coca-Cola. And she explained to me that the way they would consult with restaurants is to help them understand that you make more off selling the soda than you make off the meal. So what that taught me is that they're selling me crap. That this little syrup and water ain't nothing but a sugar high. So what do I do with every meal? I just order water with lemons. I was just in Puerto Rico. They wouldn't bring lemons. They kept bringing lime. I was getting so annoyed. I asked the guy beside me, like, hey, how do I say lemons? And because he kept on saying, yeah, I'm bringing lemons. He'd bring me lemons on a napkin. Beautiful country, worst customer service. Country, beautiful island. And that's one of my problems. I ain't even going to get started. Never mind. But here's my point. Drink water. Stop consuming extra salt. Stop eating white flour products. It's so crazy, man. When you're talking about white bread, white sugar, it's amazing how this, you got to look for, you want your food to match the rainbow. One of my mentors said that. It blew my mind. Everything, it's not hard to see, right? It's like healthy has color in it. You want that plate to look beautiful. Eat smaller portions. Eat 4 or 5 times a day instead of 3 large meals. When you can take control of your eating habits, you're going to find it easier to take control of your habits in other parts of your life as well, because there's nothing more vital, there's nothing more intrinsic to your lifestyle than eating every now and then, right? The third key to long life is proper exercise. This requires you eat. You're going to have to, listen, 90 minutes a day. Do you know I have an iPhone? This is no endorsement for the iPhone. Actually, it's been kind of getting on my nerves ever since Mr. Jobs passed away. May he rest in peace. I think they're getting a little shoddy with their workmanship. If you ask me, whole different call. But one thing that the iPhone does is it has this health app. You may have never looked at the health app because you didn't ask for it, right? But do you know if you click on that, it's been measuring your steps since you've had that phone? It will tell you on average what you're – it is amazing. I'm not going to go any further, because I'm not an affiliate of the health app, but I'm just sharing with you that you can get all the exercise you need by going for a 30 to 60-minute walk 3 to 5 days a week. If you're really serious, join a health club. Get some fitness equipment for the house. Work out even more vigorous. I'm not trying to stop you, but I'm saying if you just walk instead of taking an elevator or the escalator sometimes, if you just walk to lunch instead of driving, that alone could get you there. Now, you got to plan your work and work your plan. This is going to take what? Self-mastery, self-discipline, right? But the payoff is extraordinary. This is why the legends are the legends. It don't come easy. If your financial goal is to achieve this net worth of $1 million, your health goal got to be to live as long as possible with as much energy so you can enjoy the money. I don't want to get too deep here, but I know some of this, All right. Number 19, be decisive. Stop floating in the wind, man. There's an amazing book where Napoleon Hill, he literally talks about outwitting the devil. They wouldn't even release the book while he was still alive. It gives you chills. It gives you chills. I got to tell you, one of the main points that the devil makes when he's interviewing him, because that's what the whole book is about. The book is about interviewing the devil and how, just what it says, outwitting the devil. The book was written back in the early 1900s. It feels like it was written last week. You can find it on YouTube, Outwitting the Devil. Listen, in the book, the main way the devil gets you is you're a drifter. You don't make a decision. You're not action-oriented. One of the marks of self-made millionaires is that they think carefully and then they make decisions quickly. They discipline themselves to take action and then to carry out these decisions that they made. They move fast. They get quick feedback from their actions. If they find they've made a mistake, they quickly self-correct and they try something different. But you got to move. One of my favorite movies, World War Z. That might be overselling it a little bit. I don't know. It's one of my favorite movies, but it's one of my favorite quotes from a movie. There you go. One of my favorite quotes from a movie comes from out of World War Z, where Brad Pitt, it's this zombie invasion. I don't know what they're trying to prepare us for, with all this zombie stuff. But at any rate, in this particular iteration of this zombie pop culture thing that's going on right now, they're escaping. They're trying to move to where, of course, it's more peaceful and the Walking Dead aren't all around. And he makes they're escaping this tenement building, and he reaches to his daughter who wants to just stay there, and his wife who wants to just stay there where they found sort of like a seemingly comfortable place. And he says, nah, movement is life. Movement is life. Because it's from movement that you're going to get all of your lessons. Movement is your whole life. Millionaires, you have to get into a place where you don't mind failing. You've got to get into a place where you accept the idea that everything ain't going to be great. But that moving is how you're going to learn to fix it. It's moving that makes you learn, because it's bad experience that leads to mistakes. Mistakes lead to lessons and wisdom, and then wisdom leads to good judgment. That's how it goes. So your whole job here is to commit to what you said you were going to do, and that takes you being decisive and action-oriented. You shift your whole life into high gear. These people are just drifting. They're never happy. They're never fulfilled. They're never successful because they lack the willpower to make a decision. So now they settle for far less than what's possible for them. When you move ahead faster than the people around you, what happens is that you're tapping into a higher source of energy. You're getting more enthusiasm and motivation. It fills you with joy and exhilaration. Even the looks on other people's faces as you speed past them just gives you more adrenaline. It propels you faster. Sometimes you got to ask yourself that question we just now went over. What one action, if I did it immediately, could have the greatest positive impact on my results? Whatever your answer is to that question, do it. Number 20, never consider that there is such a thing as failure. There is nothing to fear but fear itself. The fear of failure is the greatest single obstacle to success in adult life. You don't even give it your all because then you can tell yourself you ain't really tried. It's not even the failure itself. Failure makes you stronger. Failure makes you more resilient. Failure makes you more determined. It's the fear of failure. What I said is that never consider the possibility of failure because it's the fear of failure that's the greatest obstacle to success. It's not the failure, it's the fear of failure. It's the anticipation of failure that paralyzes your thoughts. It paralyzes your activities. It holds you back from even trying to do what you need to do to succeed. Thomas Watson is one of the people that Napoleon Hill interviewed for the laws of success, right, that became Think and Grow Rich. He was the founder of IBM, a guy named Thomas Watson. So there's a famous story where journalists ask him what he can do to be more successful faster. Watson replied with these infamous words: if you want to be successful faster, you must double your rate of failure. Success lies on the far side of failure. Woo! You got to dare to move through it. And not just go through it, but grow through it. I'm not saying that you got to be a gambler, but you have to be willing to take calculated risks, or you're always going to work for somebody who did. Your attitude towards taking risks is probably the most important indicator of your readiness to become wealthy. Whenever you're faced with a somewhat risky situation, ask yourself this question: what's the worst possible thing that could happen if I just go ahead and do it? Then you do what J. Paul Getty said, famous self-made oil billionaire and poet laureate. him and Warren Buffett could go word for him. Warren Buffett, and Marcus Aurelius could go. I'm talking about phrase for phrase. Marcus Aurelius is, of course, way back in, it's a whole different subject. But my point is that whatever it is, listen. I know that you're thinking about what the worst possible thing that could happen. Well, J. Paul Getty said it the best. Whatever that is, make sure it don't happen. Everybody's afraid of failure. Everybody's afraid of loss. Nobody wants to live in poverty. Everybody's afraid of making a mistake and being set back. But self-made millionaires are the ones who deliberately face it and take action anyway. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Fear can stand for forget everything and run, or can stand for face everything and rise. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Make a habit throughout your life of doing the things you fear. If you do the thing you fear, the death of fear is certain. It's so funny. That's one of Miss Nancy's favorite philosophies. You're going to start seeing a lot of videos from Miss Amma Nancy because she's scared of doing it. But when you act boldly, unseen forces will come to your aid, and every act of courage increases your courage and capacity for the future. Whenever you take action in a forward direction with no guarantees, your fear starts to diminish because you look around and say, man, that wasn't even that bad. You eventually reach the point where you're not afraid of anything. I don't know if you've ever seen this old school movie called Apollo 13. Everybody's starting to think about losing a spacecraft, right? This one guy, he was like the head of space control. He's like, failure is not an option. Your job is to commit yourself to the point that failure is not an option, because you realize all you can do is win or learn, which, if you ask me, learning might be better than winning. Because, listen, you can already do a lot of things that you want to do. It's the fear. It's the scarcity mentality that's keeping you from doing it. You're like, I could do that, but how would I get the money back? You're like, oh, I could go there, but then what if they fired me? Like, oh, I could take off and do what I need to do, but then what would I do for money? You've never not solved a problem yet. You know how I know? Because you're here. You've never not solved a problem that threatened your life yet. You know how I know? Because you're here. Man, set these goals, write them down, and then work on them every day. And even when these problems get scary, a matter of fact, especially when they get scary, you've got to tell yourself failure is not an option. This is the attitude that more than anything else guarantees your success. You've got to have the self-discipline that when them weak thoughts creep in, you rebuke them. You do the catch and release. Failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. Failure is not one of your options. So what could be the 21st secret? What could be the 21st secret after running through so many that seem so powerful already? Well, we talked about it maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago when we just did a training on nothing but persistence. But the 21st secret, that lucky 21, is for you to put behind all of these other things that we've discussed the twin powers of persistence and determination, or what your granddaddy would call grit. Persistence is the iron quality of character. People can't follow your lack of commitment. Persistence is to the character of man as carbon is to steel. The quality of persistence is the absolutely invaluable, vital, primary, indispensable quality that you're going to see with anybody that's a success in life. And here's the thing about persistence. If you program your subconscious mind for persistence well in advance of the setbacks and the disappointments you're going to have, if you resolve in advance that you'll never give up no matter what happens, when you're overwhelmed with a problem or difficulty, you don't have enough time to develop the necessary persistence and determination. But if you plan in advance, instead of thinking it's going to be hunky-dory, instead of these problems knocking your block off, you eat it for lunch. If you plan in advance that these inevitable ups and downs are going to come, then when they happen, you're psychologically ready. You're prepared. The courage to persist in the face of adversity. The courage to keep going even when you're disappointed. That's the one quality that makes it so that the rest of this stuff can work. It's that self-discipline. It's just another way of saying it's self-mastery. You're in determination of when you're going to stop and when you're going to go, not these outside forces. You refuse. You commit. You are convicted to achieve this purpose that you know is God-given. When you plan in advance for these inevitable ups and downs, you give yourself persistence. You give yourself determination. Now you're psychologically ready for what's about to happen. You're prepared. The courage to persist in the face of adversity and disappointment might be the one that's going to push everything else over. All of life is a test, and God will never fail you, but there will be a retest. Now, a lot of people judge And this is why we're so scared. You know, we you know where you mostly see it? On social media. We judge people pretty harshly. When we can be a coward, like a keyboard, like a keyboard, kind of like keyboard thug, right? Like a keyboard gangster. Man, people say the wildest things. Now, I'm not judging you if you participate, but what I want you to know is that you're beating yourself up when you do that, because you're carving this groove in your head that says that people are going to judge you like that when you mess up, or when you have some kind of disappointment, difficulty, setback, failure, or crisis. See? If you were the type of person that looks at these other people and says, oh, no, I understand, or hey, I feel so bad for them, or man, how can I help? You go through your life with this sense of everything's going to be all right, because people rock with me. There's this Roman philosopher who once wrote, circumstances don't make the man, they merely reveal him to himself. I'm going to say that again. Circumstances don't make the man, they just reveal the man to himself. The one thing that's inevitable in your life is a recurring crisis. If you're living a busy life, you're going to have a crisis every 2 or 3 months. These are unavoidable. But what you can do is realize every time you get through a crisis, you've just leveled up. These are the kind of thoughts that keep you persistent. The more things you attempt, the bigger your goals, the more determined you are to become a self-made millionaire, the more problems and crises you're going to experience. The only thing you can control is how you respond. You cannot control the wind. You can only adjust your sails. And here's the good news. Every time you respond in a positive and constructive manner, you become stronger and better and even more capable of dealing with the next problem or crisis that comes along. You're even capable more mentally. You're capable more physically. You're capable more as a leader. You're able to coach people that go through it. All because you went through it first. You were a leader. You took the lead. You paved the path. Now, when you do this enough, you start to gain so much momentum, eventually you become unstoppable. You're a force of nature. You're an irresistible object. People can't sit in the shade unless you're deeply rooted. No matter what obstacle they put in your path, you're going to find a way to get over it, or get through it, or go under it, or go around it. You're like that Energizer buddy. Let me repeat the most important message. Success is predictable. Success is a science. Everybody you know is a success. It is not that most people aim too high and miss. It's that most people aim too low and hit it right smack dab in the forehead. The guy that got that job at Wendy's used these principles. He visualized it before it happened. He thought about it. He saw himself in that uniform. He was like, boy, I hope I get that job. And he made it happen. Congratulations, you're a success. Success is not a matter of luck or accident or being in the right place at the right time. All that stuff helps, but you ain't going to know you're in the right place at the right time if you didn't have a goal. Success isn't about those things. Success is as predictable as the sun rising in the east and setting in the west. By practicing these principles that we have just spent our time going over, and I'm so proud of you for being here, you're going to move to the front of the line. You're going to have an advantage other people will not believe. You understand me? You'll have an incredible advantage because other people are not practicing this stuff. Other people don't even know this stuff exists. If you consistently and persistently do the things that other people won't, you're going to live like other people can't. There's nothing in the world that can stop you from becoming a big success yourself. You're the architect of that mansion you're going to live in. You're the master of your own fate. You're the captain of your own soul. You're behind the steering wheel. Stop acting like you're sitting in the passenger seat, begging somebody else to make this turn. You get off on that exit because you're the one with the wheel. Look in front of you. There's a steering wheel right there. There are no limitations to what you can do. There's no limitations to what you can have. There's no limitation to what you can be except for what you put on yourself. You are as good or better than anybody you will ever meet. You're an outstanding human being, millionaire. You have talents and abilities far greater than you even realize. And I mean, listen to that word, realize. Realized. You have within you the potential to accomplish wonderful things with your life, but you got to realize that you are greatness walking around. It's funny how that word works, right? You'll say, man, I just realized. That's because it's all the mind. It's all a mental thing. You have talents and abilities that are far greater than anything you've ever realized or used up to now. You have within you the potential to accomplish godlike things. You are a legend waiting to blossom. But your great responsibility is to dream big enough that you move forward. Decide exactly what you want. Make a plan to achieve it. Practice the strategies that we just went through. And resolve yourself to never, 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 never give up. If you will do the things that others won't, you will eventually live like others can't. Your success becomes a foregone conclusion. I know I say it every week, and I get it. Sometimes things start just sounding kind of like invisible almost. But listen to me, millionaires. Either your mind has to expand to match your goals, or your goals are going to shrink to match your mind. Does anybody have any questions? Star 6 will unmute your line. We have time for about maybe 13 minutes worth of questions. I know that we did 2 different sort of trainings on this. I know that there was a lot of material. Does anybody have any questions or even comments or observations? If you do, Star 6 will unmute your line. Tell us your name, where you're from, who told you about Obsessed with Success, and then what's your question or your comment?
Yes, Haziq.
Yes, sir.
This is Baba Yoga Bay speaking. How are you doing?
I feel like a giant, Baba Yoga.
Yes. What I observed from this wonderful, wonderful nuggets of just wealth is the real eyes, which is your third eye. And visualizing with your third eye, whatever it is you want will manifest with your real eyes, which is in the physical body.
That's it. That's it. Absolutely. And it's like once you expand, the reason why I always talk about awareness is because everybody is used to staying in their comfort zone. Millionaires, your comfort zone is a coffin because you can only grow or die. The reason that I champion you increasing your awareness, and the reason that we meet up here every Wednesday at 5:15 p.m. Eastern, is because awareness is the only thing I can think of that makes staying the same more painful than change. Awareness makes staying the same more painful than growth. And that's why you got to get aware. Because if you get aware by hanging around different types of people, all of a sudden you're like, man, I ain't really doing nothing. Wow, let me step it up. Staying the same just became more painful than growth. Anybody else got any questions? Great point, Baba Yoga. Anybody else got any questions? Yes,
Hello?
Sir, yes, sir. What is your name? Where are you from? And what is your question?
Yes, this is Ramonde, Atlanta, Georgia, and I've been on the call since it was a teenager. I just had a comment. No, best call ever. I got 4 or 5 pages of notes. When you say pull the future into the present, can you just elaborate on that briefly?
Okay. There's a book that I reference sometimes on the affirmation calls called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, from a guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza. And he gives you example after example in that book that can break it down, but you've seen examples in your own life. It is not the past that determines the present. Millionaires, it's the future that determines the present. I was just speaking at a college earlier today, and I was talking about this. The whole idea that if you really look at your goals, it changes the fabric of everything around you, because the universe doesn't speak English or French or Spanish. The universe speaks frequency. And so when you talk about pulling the present into the future, what you're talking about is time compression. You're saying, and it's what we just now talked about, what is the most valuable thing I can do right now that will help me hit my 1-year goal, that helps me hit my 5-year goal? And I mean, you know, I could be saying that it helps me hit my goal this hour so I can have my goal this day, so I can have my goal this week, so I can have my goal this month. You know, the differences are endless. But the point I'm making is that it's the future that determines the present. Therefore, you've got to be real clear on what you want so that you can begin to pull it into your present state of consciousness. Because it's not what it is you want to do or have, it's who you want to be that can handle doing and having that. And then trust me, everybody gets what they deserve. Everything you sow, you shall reap. It's just the way life works. So I hope that helps.
Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome. Anybody else got anything before we get out of here? Okay. All right. Well, if nobody else has anything, then we'll go ahead and call it an evening. I love you all, and I got to tell you, my Instagram page is Haziq Ali. My Facebook is Haziq Ali 1, and I just put something up that I thought was really, really interesting, because we're living in really mysterious times, y'all. And I put up a snippet of a speech that was given during the BET Awards. I normally would never talk about something like this on a training because these are so evergreen and you can listen to them anytime and it still be super relevant. But I think that this is the kind of information that's still super relevant. I just saw a news story about how Facebook was starting to ban certain content. They'll use what's called a hash. They'll find a hash inside the video, and it'll make it so any video with this similar thing can be removed quickly. You know, companies did that for copyright infringement reasons. There's all kinds of reasons they've come up with some of this technology. Here's my point. They will let you do all of these things that are damaging to your self-esteem. They don't mind if you do all of these things that beat you into submission with this mindset of scarcity and lack and insecurity. But the fact that if I'm getting it right, and if I've got the wrong mindset towards it, then maybe I'm mistaken. But I'm hearing reports from X amount of people that makes my suspicions when I first read this news article seem to be confirmed. This news article that you can Google brought up how Facebook is basically now able to ban certain content that they consider to be radical. Now, what does that mean? You thought that meant if some militia beheads some U.S. reporter and puts it on Facebook, that keeps it from going viral. But no. You would think that means all these videos where people are calling each other out their name or doing all type of misogynistic behavior or sadistic behavior or genocidal behavior or but no. There was a speech that got aired on during an award show on Sunday night that basically has been getting pulled off Facebook when people post it. Now, if you can find it, then that's great. You know, maybe people are blowing things out of proportion. But I do have it on my Instagram page. You know, definitely check it out because I think we have a responsibility that we need to take very seriously. And I don't care if you're black, white, brown, yellow, or red. What I'm saying to you is that we have a higher consciousness that we have a responsibility to live. And our higher self makes it clear that we are all in this together. That means injustice for one soon becomes injustice for all. That means that bully is soon coming down the hallway. So we got to get him now. I want you to be aware of what's going on around you because the people who you're putting your faith in don't necessarily have your best interest in mind. They don't mind if you distract yourself with kittens using the toilet and stuff like that. But the minute you decide to spread the kind of stuff that we are spreading, I want you to know it's not going to be an easy road. They don't want you to be a producer. They want you as a consumer. 70% of our GDP is consumption. All America does for the rest of the planet is provide cash cattle called, black people, white people, red people, brown people, right? We are just consumers. All we do is purchase, but not you. You're on this call to learn to be a better producer. Millionaires, I love you. And remember, either your mind has to expand to match your goals, or your goals will start to shrink to match your mind. Check out my Instagram page at Haziq Ali. I love you all and good night.
Let's grow.
Let's grow.
Done. Already done. Awareness. I love it. I love it.